So you just got off a phone call with Bank of America.
Correct.
Because of a problem with a new credit card. With the two biggest problems, in my opinion, being the fact that, one, we have a window of opportunity to utilize a promotional period to get the statement credit and get a free $300. But number two, this is what's going to probably affect a lot of people out watching, out in the world, out in their day-to-day activities, is if they were to come across this problem that you experienced with a brand new card. And first, let's go into what happened with the card before you received this letter from Bank of America.
All right, so got the card in the mail. Is that what you mean? Like start from the card in the mail? Okay, so got the card in the mail. And of course, any card that you get, it's going to have a little sticker on the front that says you must activate it first. So I, of course, activated the card. It says your card is ready to go and ready to use. Thanks for, banking with Bank of America, whatever. So I went to Publix and I picked up some things for a few videos, which is a business expense, and I went to use the business credit card and it said denied. It didn't say declined, it said denied. And I was like, well, that's weird. I know it's activated. And the girl at the register was like, okay, well, we can try again. She goes, maybe do the tap instead of the chip insert. So I did that, still got denied. And so I just thought maybe, it hadn't been activated long enough because I had done it that morning, or maybe it was just a Publix thing because Publix has a tendency to also decline my American Express. No clue why. It's always a chip issue according to their machines. So we actually went to Cracker Barrel later that day, and I was going to use the business card there as well because we recorded and we talked business. And so I went to use the card and it did the same thing. It said it was declined, and it didn't make sense. I tried to call Bank of America. I tried to call the number on the back of the card, and no matter how many buttons I pushed, no matter what numbers I pushed, I could not get a person. I jumped online when we got home on my Bank of America on the app or on the website on the computer, and I could not find a Let's Chat anywhere, so I couldn't get a immediate person-to-person kind of response either. And so
you had asked if you should go to the bank, and I told you that you walk in the Bank of America branch, they're not going to help you. Not with a credit card. Because
it's a business one also. I think because credit card number one, but also because it's a business thing as well. They're just going to be like, hey, you have to call a certain phone number. And so I checked the mail, and I had something in the mail from Bank of America.
What does it say?
And it says, please call us right away at phone number. We have detected suspicious activity on your account, so we've temporarily suspended it until we can speak with you. We tried to call you, but unfortunately couldn't reach you. Because your security is our top priority, we've temporarily suspended your account until you call us and confirm the transactions are valid. And then it says, we're here to help. Please call us 24/7. And they give a toll-free number. And then it says, or if you're traveling internationally, call us collect at, and then they give a collect number that starts with 602. And then it says, thank you for taking care of this right away. And I'm not going to lie, I thought it was spam immediately. I was like, this doesn't look like other things I've gotten in the mail from Bank of America. But I was mentally comparing it to things I've gotten from my personal checking account, not a business checking account. So maybe that's why this one looked different. But when there was a 602 phone number, I was like, nope, got to Google that and make sure it's actually Bank of America, because most credit cards or businesses that you call will be 800 or 888. I've never seen a 602 anywhere, so I was a little curious.
And then the other thing is, you just got the card, you just activated the card, and then they immediately denied it, and then placed it under,
a fraud alert.
Well, so then we go into, you actually got a hold of Bank of America on the phone today. By calling the number on this paper after I Googled it to make sure it was actually a Bank of America. And that was a lot of fun.
That was fun. Yeah. What do you mean?
The security questions and...
Oh, yeah. So the very first thing, the lady answers the phone. Hello, my name is blah, blah. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? And I say, my name is Michelle. And she says, all right, can I get the 16-digit card number you're calling about? And I said, no. You're going to have to ask me a different question. I'm just going to give you my card number over the phone. One, I don't know if you're legit. Two, that's a horrible thing. What if I'm standing out in public? I'm not giving you all the digits to my credit card where anybody could overhear what I'm saying. One, don't make that phone call when you're surrounded by strangers. But also, that's not, to me, a smart question. And she was like, oh, well, we can think of, I can ask you a different question. What is the phone number on the account? Because the one you're calling from didn't pull anything up. And I said, it's the phone number that I'm calling from is the one on my account. And suddenly that pulled up the information. And then she's like, I just need the last four of the card number. And I said, okay. And then she was able to tell me where the card was declined and where the next transaction was also declined from between Publix and Cracker Barrel.
And she said this is normal?
She said this happens a lot with Publix or with a lot of the kiosk things, that they can't tell if a chip, because it hasn't been used yet, they can't tell if the chip is real or not real, so it immediately denies it and declines it. And she says that has to do with their operating system, not your card. So I'm like,
but then that immediately put it into fraud.
It immediately put it into the fraud category. Now, I'm a little baby conspiracy theorist. I'm not gonna lie, and I think this has to do with the. We don't want you to be able to get free money from us, so we're going to put your card into this non-usable state, so you have less chance of actually spending the amount of money needed to spend in order to get the free money from us.
So honestly, to me, the biggest problem is not the business card. It's not Bank of America and their fraud protection. It's not Publix. The biggest problem for me is the fact that if this was like a similar situation like the EBT, SNAP food benefits system going down, and people have groceries, carts full of groceries or necessities or whatever they're trying to do, whatever they're trying to get, whatever they're trying to buy, and it doesn't work, what do you do? What do you do? So in this instance, we use a different company card.
Yes.
Not a big deal.
Yes.
But this is all part of, you know, the statement of get your money out of the bank, get your cash out of the bank. Well, some people, this is it. That credit card or their check card, their debit card, whatever it is, that is it. And if you don't have a backup plan, it took, I think she said it took like 7 days since this first started happening. And we just weren't in a we weren't in a big hurry to fix it, even though we needed to, so that we could get the charges on the card to get the free promotional credit. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like a urgency. So we just used a different card. But for some people, what if they couldn't get Bank of America on the phone? What if they couldn't get them on the phone? The chat feature is not available. You can't walk into a branch and get help, and your only means of conducting transactions is denied and declined. What do you do?
I'm actually curious right now because I'm pulling up my personal Bank of America app on my phone to see if the chat is available there. It's not available on their website, and I don't actually. So they have on your app they still have where you can type questions, but I don't think
it's a real live person.
It won't let you do a live person.
But that's anymore. The thing. It's like if this was it, you got to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
You got to have a backup plan. You go to Publix, and Publix is notorious for
what
it.
What if it had been on Sunday? Definitely couldn't get in touch with anybody.
Exactly. So you got to have cash.
Yes.
You got to have cash and or multiple bank accounts. You got to have multiple cards available. You got to have some form of security for yourself so that you are prepared, so you don't find you can't get food, you can't get water, you can't get gas for your vehicle. Like, you got to have a backup.
And what if it's an emergency? You're at the hospital or someplace like that, or you're trying to get medications and things. It's the same thing. And then, people are like, well, write a check. A lot of places,
I guess a check could be a backup.
A check could be a backup, but a lot of places won't. Some places,
most places don't really trust the check.
They don't trust the check unless they can run it through the thing.
Even if they run it through the machine, they're like, we'll come back in 4 days and you can have whatever.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm not knocking Bank of America for what they did. I'm just trying to bring light and education and preparedness to the situation of how, if you only have one source and it goes down through no fault of your own, that is a very, very unsafe position to put yourself in unnecessarily.
Yes.
Just based on just a normal occurrence of what goes on day to day, and an accidental denial triggering a fraud alert and locking you out. Granted, again, this is why we use credit cards, because we don't get locked out of our money. We get locked out of credit.
Yes.
But imagine if it was your money and you get locked out of your money. Your card is now in fraud protection. Oh, okay, fine. I can't use it here. I'll just run to the ATM. I'll get cash and come back. No, your card is in fraud protection, so it's locked out.
So that actually happened to me with my Bank of America personal card. We went out of town. This was a couple years ago. We went somewhere and I went to make a purchase and it declined the card. And then I got an immediate text from Bank of America saying, hey, this isn't where you normally purchase. Do you have your card in your possession? Are you the one making this purchase, kind of thing? And I had to say yes before they would let it go through, because they saw it as me being outside of my normal area, that it could have been an issue. So they declined it immediately, which happens to people all the time as well. People don't think about that either. If you're out of state and you're trying to get fuel or whatever, and it's a Sunday and your card gets declined, maybe you don't get the text message, or maybe you whatever, but then you can't call anybody.
Yeah, and then, speaking about the fuel, if we do actually get into a situation, which they're already reporting reports of in the Northeast, fuel rationing. So you got to realize that more than likely you have the likelihood of getting to a gas station and there being a long line of people waiting to fill up. And when you get to your turn and you've only got one card and it doesn't work, what are you going to do?
Like, how many people are willing to help you out?
No, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, odds are maybe somebody will step up, or whatever. But even still, some people are very skeptical and they'll say, well, do you really need help, or are you doing this on purpose just to get free gas? So at the end of the day, it makes sense to be prepared for anything that could possibly happen, which in this situation is accidentally getting locked out of the ability to make purchases through the computer system, through an algorithm, through AI, through technology, not through a human being actually typing this in, realizing that, oh, you just received the card, you just authorized it, and an hour later you went to use it. Like, this is tech.
Now, the other thing that is funny to me about this, though, and why I say that it is part of their make sure you can't get the freebies thing, is because they said, we tried to call you. I looked, I don't have any missed calls. They also have my email address. They have my business email address. I got nothing through there. What I got was snail mail, right? They want to do everything else paperless. They want to send you all your statements paperless. They want everything to be online. But when there's an actual issue, they want to send it through the United States Postal Service, as opposed to send you an email so you can get it immediately and know that there's an issue.
You guys be careful, be aware, be prepared, have a backup plan. Cards, credit, cash, check, whatever, crypto, I don't know, whatever you're going to use, gold, silver, don't forget the
gold bars.
Yeah, whatever you want to use, but ultimately don't find yourself in a situation where a company like a corporate bank like Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase or whoever you bank with, Truist, basically locks you out and leaves you high and dry. And think about it. Not even a big bank. It could be a small bank. It could be a credit union. It could be a bank that you have a great relationship with, you've been with for years. By being a smaller bank, if their fraud protection is even higher, if their fraud protection is even more sensitive because they can't afford to have the chargebacks and be compensating people for fraudulent and theft activities on their accounts, they're going to be higher sensitivity on anything. Well, guess what? Those smaller banks, after 5 o'clock on the weekends, it's a done deal. So you're going to wait till the next business day. Don't let it be a Saturday or a Friday afternoon. You got Saturday, Sunday. Don't let it be a 3-day holiday weekend. You're going to be without the entire time.
Now, this isn't credit card related, but it is. When I used to manage a few retail places, I remember the power went out and the only option was either to use that old hand machine where you put the card on the little machine, you put the paper over and right? But then you hand wrote out receipts and you hand wrote everything. I never liked that. I did not want somebody's credit card information just floating around in the office or whatever else, because yes, you trust everybody you work with. You have to, right? But there's always that possibility that somebody could just take that information and run with it. So for me, having cash on hand would have been a much better safer thing for a lot of people. You don't want people just having your credit card information, your driver's license number, everything written down on a piece of paper, just sitting there to be input later when the power comes back on. You have cash, you pay them, they give you change, and then you walk away and there's no issues. But
the thing is, unfortunately right now, a lot of people don't have cash, so they are relying on credit to get by. Inflation is a bear and it is taking no prisoners. But then the other thing is like, if you find yourself in a situation like this and your account gets locked out, then you got automatic deductions and drafts and things like that for bills and things like that. They could go unpaid and it could just be a huge catastrophe. Huge.
It's called a cluster.
Huge. So the key is be prepared, have a backup plan. know that the banks are going to be more sensitive, know that AI is going to not have common sense and ultimately flag accounts, ultimately, mark and track certain accounts in certain ways just because it's triggered the algorithm and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just a computer program. It's a computer glitch. But ultimately, shoot, this could even wind up in a situation where like a bank would close your account because you just accidentally fell into the wrong column because of the computer programming, and you don't want that to be it for you, and it just completely turn your life upside down because of a computer glitch, which is the direction we're going. This is the future. Technology, automation, AI. We can't stop it, but we can do our best to be prepared for it and its problems.
So what's funny is that because this is a business account, in order to activate the card, I had to put in the tax ID for it, not my social or anything or whatever else, but I had to put in the actual tax ID in order to activate the account. So even if this had been stolen and lost, they could not have activated it because they would not know the information needed to activate it. So the whole AI not being very smart, the second it got declined and they put a fraud alert,
I don't even know if it's not being very smart. Now, granted, there are instances where that could happen, where it is confused and, it's a glitch. However, this could be intentional so that, you know what, here's your card. We want you to activate it, but it's not going to work because we want to hear your voice. It's like all these layers of protection. It's kind of like we don't have, when you call them, your number doesn't pull up an account. Well, that doesn't make any sense because you have multiple accounts with Bank of America under the same phone number. And then when they do type the number in, it pulls up everything. So it's like, I think that on their end, especially for the low level folks that you get on the phone, like on the lower tier of customer service and chat, they're just checking a box. The computer pops up and it says this, they have to do what the computer says, and then if this happens, if this, then that, if this, then that, and then if this, okay, they're not going to give me their whole card number. All right, then ask for the phone number. Say there's nothing pulling up. You get the phone number, then things start to pull up. Then they ask security questions, and these are super low level employees, possibly even international employees through outsourcing through other countries and things like that, paying them basically nothing to do this work. The folks that you get on the phone, you can barely understand them because their accents are so thick. But at the end of the day, they're not in control. They are grunt workers at the bottom rung of the ladder, if they're even on the ladder, and they just have to do what the computer tells them to do. But I think that these are added securities put in place by the banks to prevent too much fraud that they have to come out of pocket for.
Makes sense.
So you guys, I just want you guys to be aware. Maybe this happened to you. If it did, comment. Let me know. And with that being said, new business credit card, statement credit.
Yes.
So free money.
Free money.
Free money.
So if you, like with Bank of America, they're doing right now, if you use it for $3,000 in the first 90 days, you get a $300 credit on your statement. Now, if you're a business who has expenses that you pay for through your company anyway, pay for them with your credit card. Don't try to go out and spend extra, obviously, unless it is going to benefit you. If that $300 is more than that little bit of extra you're going to spend. But it's one of those things where when there are little perks, make sure you take advantage of them if they work for you, because why would you want to give up $300 free dollars?
Exactly. It's like I said, free money. It's a great opportunity. And right now with inflation and with the way the economy is going and with how businesses should be focusing on their budgets, this is a great opportunity just to pick up some free cash. So, and then the rewards go on the account. I don't know if anybody's used Bank of America, but their rewards go online. It's really simple, really easy to use, really easy to redeem. And the cool thing about Bank of America rewards, which we'll leave on this, is that they will pay you personally and not just the business.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. So you guys check it out. Be aware, be careful, be safe, have a plan, have a backup plan. Thanks, Squirrel Tribe. And check out this video, check out the playlist, subscribe to both channels if you haven't already. You guys take care, be safe. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.